You've met them before. Maybe it's that friend who always makes you feel guilty for things you didn't do, or that co-worker who smiles while slowly twisting every word you say until you start doubting your own memory. Toxic people have a superpower, not laser eyes or invisibility, but something way more dangerous: psychological stealth. They play games inside your head, and they're so good at it that by the time you realize what's happening, you're already dancing to their tune. It starts small. They don't walk in waving a flag that says, "Hi, I'm here to ruin your peace of mind." No, they come disguised as charm, confidence, or care. You might even think, "Wow, this person really understands me." But underneath that polished smile is a strategy, a long-term investment in control. Because that's what toxic people crave more than anything. Control. Not love, not respect. Just the delicious, subtle feeling of pulling someone else's emotional strings. The scariest part? They often don't even look toxic at first. They're the ones who ask all the right questions, seem deeply interested, and make you feel special. But that's the bait. Once you take it, the hook slides in, and suddenly your emotions are the battlefield. See, toxic people understand one golden truth about human nature. Everyone wants to be understood, validated, and accepted. So they start there. They mirror you, your speech, your hobbies, your values. It's not genuine, it's psychological mimicry. They study what makes you tick, what makes you light up, and what breaks you. Then they use that data to sculpt the perfect persona, a version of themselves that fits you like a glove. It feels like chemistry, but it's actually manipulation wearing a friendly face. And once you're comfortable, they switch gears. The compliments become backhanded. The concern turns critical. The warm attention you once got starts to vanish, but just enough to make you chase it again. That's how they hook your brain into a loop of confusion and craving. It's like emotional gambling. Sometimes you win their affection, sometimes you don't, and that unpredictability is addictive. Ever heard of intermittent reinforcement? It's the same trick used in slot machines. You never know when you'll hit the jackpot, so you keep pulling the lever. Toxic people use the exact same system. One day they shower you with praise. "You're amazing, I don't know what I'd do without you." The next, they act distant, cold, or irritated. You start wondering, what did I do wrong? And boom, you're hooked. Your brain starts associating their approval with your sense of peace. That's the game, emotional dependency disguised as connection. And if you try to call them out, they'll gaslight you into oblivion. "You're too sensitive." That's not what I said. You're remembering it wrong. Gaslighting isn't about lying. It's about rewriting reality. They slowly chip away at your confidence until you question your own judgment. They'll rewrite conversations, deny facts, twist emotions, all with calm precision. The goal is simple: make you doubt yourself so much that you start relying on them to interpret the world for you. Once that happens, they've won, because now you're not thinking independently. You're filtering reality through their version of events. And toxic people thrive in that fog of confusion. They don't want clarity. They want chaos, because in chaos, they can lead. Here's another trick: emotional baiting. They'll create tiny dramas just to get a reaction out of you. Maybe they act jealous, distant, or overly silent. You ask what's wrong, and they respond with, "Nothing, I'm fine." But you can feel something's off. So you keep asking, apologizing, fixing, until you're exhausted. That's the point. They want you on edge, emotionally invested, walking on eggshells. Because if you're too busy trying to calm them, you won't have time to notice their manipulation. And then becomes projection. Toxic people have a PhD in blaming others for their own behavior. If they lie, they accuse you of dishonesty. If they cheat, they accuse you of being unfaithful. If they're jealous, they say you're the one being controlling. It's psychological judo, using your own weight against you. Suddenly, you're defending yourself from accusations that don't even make sense, while they play the role of the misunderstood victim. Speaking of victims, toxic people love playing that part. Victimhood is their camouflage. Whenever they're called out, they flip the script. You're being unfair. I've been through so much. No one ever understands me. Sympathy becomes their shield. And because good people naturally empathize, you might start feeling guilty for even setting boundaries. That's how they trap you, not with force, but with guilt. And let's talk about guilt, because it's their favorite weapon. They use it to make you responsible for their emotions. You didn't reply fast enough. You don't care. You went out without them. You're selfish. You're not agreeing with their opinion. You're always making things difficult. See the pattern. Every move you make becomes emotional quicksand. You keep trying to please them, but the goalpost keeps shifting. That's how they maintain control, by making you constantly prove your loyalty. The irony is that toxic people are often very insecure. Beneath their confidence is a fragile ego that can't handle being wrong, ignored, or exposed. That's why they need constant validation, not to feel loved, but to feel powerful. Their self-worth depends on how much they can control others, and the more you bend for them, the stronger they feel. They also master the art of plausible deniability. They rarely say things that can be pinned down as clearly cruel. Instead, they use tone, implication, and timing. They'll joke about something deeply personal, then say, "Relax, I was just kidding." They'll make a promise, but phrase it vaguely enough that they can back out later. Every word is a chess move, deliberate, strategic, and covered with charm. And if they sense they're losing control, they'll shift tactics instantly. Some go cold, the silent treatment. They'll disappear emotionally or physically, knowing that silence creates panic. Others go warm, love bombing you with attention, apologies, or promises. "I'll change. You mean everything to me. Let's start over." It's not genuine remorse, it's a reset button. They want to restore your hope just long enough to start the cycle again. You might think, but why? Why go through all that effort? Because for toxic people, relationships aren't about connection, they're about domination. Every emotional response you have is a source of supply. Your anger feeds them, your confusion entertains them, your affection validates them. The moment you stop reacting, they start losing power. That's why detachment drives them crazy. It's the one thing they can't manipulate. Here's the wild part. Some toxic people aren't even fully aware of how manipulative they are. They've learned these behaviors through survival, trauma, or upbringing. But intention doesn't erase impact. Whether they know it or not, the result is the same: emotional chaos. So how do they stay so sneaky? They exploit social norms. Society teaches us to be polite, patient, forgiving. Toxic people weaponize those virtues. They know you don't want to seem rude or overreactive, so they push boundaries inch by inch. They never cross the line all at once. They move it slowly until one day you realize you're miles away from where you started. They also rely on what psychologists call cognitive dissonance. That's the tension between what you believe and what you experience. You believe they care about you, but they keep hurting you. So your brain tries to reconcile that by rationalizing their behavior. They're just stressed. They didn't mean it. Everyone makes mistakes. And that mental gymnastics keeps you stuck longer than you'd ever expect. But the most dangerous thing about toxic people is their unpredictability. You never know who you're getting each day, the loving version or the cold one. That emotional roulette keeps you hyper-focused on their mood, not yours. It's a subtle form of conditioning. Your happiness starts depending on how they feel. Toxic people are emotional illusionists. They distract you with empathy while they pickpocket your peace. They tell half-truths so convincing that even the full truth starts sounding suspicious. They'll create chaos and then offer to fix it, making themselves look like the hero of the very problem they caused. It's a masterclass in psychological manipulation, and it works because it plays on basic human wiring, the need for connection, approval, and closure. And that's the cruel genius of it. They don't trap you with walls. They trap you with hope. Hope that they'll change. Hope that the good moments will come back. Hope that if you just love them hard enough, they'll stop hurting you. But that hope is the leash, and every time you start to walk away, they tug it just enough to pull you back. You start questioning yourself. Maybe I'm the problem. Maybe I'm overreacting. That's exactly what they want. Because once you doubt your own perception, they can rewrite your reality however they want. They don't need to control your life directly. They just need to control how you see it. The truth is, toxic people are sneaky not because they're geniuses, but because they understand emotion better than logic. They know how to push feelings faster than you can process facts. By the time your rational mind catches up, your emotional one has already made excuses for them. And here's the kicker. They don't just manipulate individuals, they manipulate entire groups. At work, they pit colleagues against each other. In families, they play favorites. In friendships, they spread subtle gossip to stay at the center of control. It's not about connection, it's about positioning. They thrive in tension because tension makes them indispensable. Their greatest fear is exposure. The moment someone calls out their behavior with calm confidence, their entire illusion starts to crack. That's why they hate boundaries. Boundaries reveal their limits. They'll call you selfish, cold, or changed just because you stopped letting them feed on your peace. But here's the paradox. Toxic people need others to survive emotionally, yet their behavior ensures they eventually drive everyone away. They're like emotional vampires, charming enough to invite in but draining once they're inside. And when they're finally exposed, they rarely reflect. They just move on to the next target, because taking responsibility would mean confronting the truth. The problem has always been them. It's not your job to fix them. It's your job to recognize the pattern, the sudden mood shifts, the guilt traps, the confusion that always leaves you second-guessing. Once you see it clearly, the spell breaks, because mind games only work when you're still playing. And once you stop playing, they lose.